You know, when you hear the phrase, nobody is coming to help you, that was Abigail's situation. Because at this time, she had to read online. She had to find out, how do you manage such a condition? What do you do under such circumstances? Because here she is living with her husband in the house, and at any time he could just run into a crisis, and she needs to call for the doctors or for the nurses because it's an emergency dialysis he must undergo. So she began reading, she began studying. But there's a question I want to ask. Where did you muster strength and courage from? Because this is like you knowing that your husband has been given a verdict. It's like a death sentence. Except you had 20 million for a kidney transplant. And even at that, a kidney transplant is not 100% successful. You told me about some people you saw in the hospital that didn't make it. Not everybody who undergoes a kidney transplant survives. And not everybody has the money to undergo a transplant. What gave you strength? Where did you draw strength from?
You know, like I told you earlier.
How did this situation affect you mentally, physically, emotionally? How were you moving about? You're not the one with the diagnosis, but in a sense, you're the one. How did you carry on?
God has already prepared me for this before now. So I was just, I was just floating. That's the word. Because even me, I was wondering, how was I doing this? Looking back now. I remember a day when we were still trying to see how to go about the funds, because it was a lot. I remember a friend called me. He said, "Big girl, I want to tell you something, but it's so heavy in my mouth." I was like, okay, if it was not heavy in your heart, now it's close to your mouth, why don't you just go ahead and say it? He said, you know, you've been trying to manage this situation. My dad passed on from this, and now your husband is dealing with this. What if, I didn't even wait for her to finish. He said, what if he doesn't make it? And I asked her, what if he makes it? Wow. And she was like, big girl, I'm not trying to put fear in you. And when I said what I said it from a place of calmness, conviction that he wasn't going anywhere.
Wow.
I was like, what if he makes it? He said, no, I'm just trying to tell you, I just want you to prepare for the worst should anything happen. But I said, don't worry about it.
Talk about audacity. Audacity, this is audacity. There can't be a better definition. Go on.
At that point, I knew I had to find a solution. Back to the funds. I remember one day in the hospital, I called a friend, one of his friends that have always been there with us, that I always called in any case of emergency. He shows up like, I said, we need to do something. He said, yes, we need to do something, but how much do you think you need for this transplant? I said, the doctor said from 20 million. He said, wow, 20 million. I said, yes, I'll get it for him. I didn't know when I said what I said. He said, do you know what 20 million is?
Another audacity statement.
He said, do you know what 20 million is? At that point, I wasn't thinking what 20 million is. I was only seeing myself that when I need the money, it's going to come out. He said, have you seen it before in your life? Have you held it? And I responded, I might not have seen 20 million in my life. I might not have it in my bank account. But when I need it, it will show up. And I told him I was going to get it for him. How? At that point, I wasn't thinking. All I knew is that when I need it, the money will come forth. And I told myself, if it means going from compound to compound, from door to door, from organization to organization, I will get the money for it. Because I got tired of emergency. I remember the days we used to have emergency. I didn't know the hospital can be that busy. I didn't know hospital is a big business. Middle of the night, you see people trooping in. Most days, there are no beds. I'm like, I used to sleep in my house all these while. So this is how people live their life. Oh. And I met people that have lived in the hospital for over 6 months, a year. I had to talk to myself like, you're a Christian and you believe in the power of God and you're watching all these things happen. I had to hold God by his words. At that point, I knew that something has to happen. I could not imagine myself in and out of hospital. Probably some people is their normal way of life. No, no. How?
So what did you do about the funding now?
Now, at that point, I have to start talking to friends. Like, I've heard of GoFundMe. I see it online. I don't know. I know it's a way of raising funds, but I didn't know how to go about it. I started asking questions. So one of my friends told me that you need someone outside to help you open the account. You need someone's foreign address, foreign account. At the end of the day, my friends, they were able to help me set up a GoFundMe account. They were able to create a Facebook page. We were on Instagram. We were on Twitter. We were on different social media trying to raise the funds.
And you had to make a video, of course.
I had to make a video.
This is me, Abigail, and this is my husband, Freida. I want to thank you for your support.
I was on AIT.
How did you feel? You know, now you are here in front of a camera, literally soliciting for funds. How did that make you feel?
Okay, now when the GoFundMe account was ready and we needed to go out there, and my friends, they were calling, Abigail, post. You're the wife. You need to post first before we can lift it from there. I didn't know how to do that. I was like, Abigail, you're now going to be begging people, please help me. Your face has to be there. Your picture has to be there. And we need to start with a video to prove that, yes, this is the situation.
It's not a scam. Because there's some GoFundMe that ended up being a scam. And I mean, so people are now suspicious of those kind of initiatives.
We had to go on out there. I remember the first time I made the post on WhatsApp. As it was just getting to my status, people were calling. My customers, they were calling. Friends, Abigail, what is that? Are you joking or what? Pastor, I cried. For 1 week, I cried. As the calls are coming in, as I'm crying, they are sending the money. As the money is hitting my account, as the alerts are coming, I kept on crying. I'm like, God. Yeah.
Sorry, explain now. You asked for money. You set up a GoFundMe account. You made a video with your husband, of course.
In the hospital.
And you put it out on your status, your WhatsApp status. And the response was overwhelming, if I understand you. People were responding. And of course, they were calling to be sure that this is genuine.
Is you.
Why were you crying then?
I was overwhelmed. Like, I remember I used to ask questions, God, why me? Why not people that have money? Why not that rich person? Why? Why me? Why do I have to go through this? I was asking questions. But at a point, I noticed when I stopped asking those questions, when I start thanking God for the situation I found myself, that was when the courage came. Like I told you, I took out time to cry. I cried like a week. I would look at my phone, calls coming in. I cried. Then after some time, I now got the courage to answer all the questions, to say, yes, it is me. The video you're looking at, it is me. I remember one day, I was on my way to work. My husband, he took the kids to school. A neighbor was coming out of her house. She now stopped me. Sister, I saw your video somewhere. I saw it on so person status. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to defraud people? I was like, my video? She said, yes. I said, why are you doing that? Your husband is okay. I said, do you know my husband? I said, yes, I know your husband, the chubby, cheerful guy. I said, are you sure? I said, if you see him now, will you recognize him? She said, yes. Amazingly, as she was just talking, my husband was walking in. I said, this is my husband. She looked at us. She was shocked. She couldn't continue the conversation. She said, I will call you later. That was how she left.
Why?
She was shocked at the sight because he has lost so much weight. You couldn't recognize him. You could only see his core and his shoulder walking. He was so slim. Later in the evening, she called to apologize. That's her number. I should save it, that she will try her best. So I was getting a lot of calls because I was going about my normal activities the day he was off hospital. And people didn't know because I didn't tell anybody. So when they saw the video, it was a shock to them. And as the shock was coming to them, it was also coming to me like, Abigail, you. So it was overwhelming. And as God will have it, the first 3 weeks, we were able to raise 15 million.
Say that again.
15 million. I had to call my account officer there and say, please, I need you to lock this account because we are trying to raise a particular amount. 15 million.
That is an overwhelming response.
It
and that is
was.
indicative that God was involved in it.
He was.
And
He
we
was.
wouldn't ask him why Abigail
anymore.
but we would thank him because we can see that he was a part of it. That response to a GoFundMe from somebody who was not, known, but God knew. God saw your situation and his mercy prevailed.
Yes.
So you had a chunk of the money coming in the first 3 weeks,
Yes.
and subsequently some more money came in.
Yeah. At a point, I had to pause. I got tired of the call. How far? How far? Are you guys okay? Is the money okay? I had to pause. But at a point, I had to come back online again because
You needed more funds.
I needed more funds. And then the dollar was fluctuating because the hospital, you pay in dollars. From 20 million, it was increased to 27 million.
Wow.
So I had to come out online again. I had to keep talking to people. I had to keep talking to friends. And I want to thank God for amazing people. My customers, they were amazing. My secondary school classmates, my primary school classmates, my environment growing up, my childhood friends.
What about the church?
The church, they stepped in. I was overwhelmed at the response, at the love. Because you can imagine 27 million. How will I get it from? What will I sell to raise such money? The response was overwhelming. And the hospital. We were
About how many hospitals did you visit?
six different hospitals.
And not small hospitals.
Not small
Six
hospitals.
major hospitals in the city
About
where you live.
3 government hospitals, the rest were private hospitals. Then the last hospital, there was this particular night, my husband was choking like he needed this thing. I don't know how to explain it. When they need this dialysis, it's as though everything is coming to a stop. They just need it. They just need it to drain out the toxins in the body. So we're looking for hospital to go to. I called the government hospitals. They were like, the government have not supplied them the chemical.
What?
Yeah, there was no chemical for dialysis. So at that point, I needed to get a hospital to do it immediately. I went online and I saw a particular hospital that run 24 hours dialysis section. I was like, wow. So that evening, somehow, we were all alone, I, my husband, and the kids. And I didn't want to drag the kids to another hospital because they follow us to almost all the hospitals. So at that point, I was like, again. I had to plead with him that night. I said, please, can you just hold on till morning? That night, we didn't sleep. We were looking at the time like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It was like, finally, it's almost daybreak. It looks as though, the night was longer. Immediately, it was 4 a.m. We got the kids ready. We were waiting. By 6, we were already out of the house. We got to the school. We had to plead with them that, please, this one is a serious matter. The schools, they knew about our case. So they were open to receive us at any time. Even the days we were running late. So that was how the kids went to school. We now went to the hospital.
This particular
hospital. The reception was amazing.